What happens when you combine the game's greatest anticipator with 4 elite weapons? You get the #1 scoring offense of all time. Shattering records as fast as they did defenses, the 2013 Broncos tore through teams with a mixture of talent and technique, becoming the only 600-point team in NFL history. This is football played at its very highest level. Thanks to the NFL for lending us the film. After missing the 2011 season due to a neck injury, Peyton Manning was released by the Colts, with serious questions about his health and future in the game. It's a ruthless business, but one Manning understood, knowing his second chapter would have to come elsewhere. Peyton proved to everyone he was far from finished with a thunderous return as a Bronco in 2012. But it wasn't until 2013 that the offense truly went into hyperdrive. With the addition of all-pro slot receiver Wes Welker and the emergence of a young Julius Thomas, the Broncos had 4 weapons that demanded serious attention. And when you pair that with Peyton freaking Manning, there's just nothing you can do to stop him. Manning's accuracy, anticipation, and understanding of defenses gave even well-prepared teams no chance to get near him or his players. Let's start with that accuracy, because there was simply no ball he couldn't throw, possessing elite touch, arm strength, and placement to defeat perfect coverages. He was incredibly aggressive in his approach too. Now, that didn't mean he lost his rhythm waiting for routes to come open, but if you left a chance for him to go deep, he would attack you. Working off the play action, he spots the safety not backpedaling fast enough with the threat of Eric Decker, and he's got the talent to hit this throw. He rips this from the 45, throwing with perfect touch over both Chiefs defenders to the perfect spot. Not afraid of even the narrowest of windows, Manning knew he had the talent and timing to consistently shred tight coverages. All it takes is for the safety to stay slightly too far outside the tight end, and Peyton knows there's a window. He's sniping before the backer can turn around, placing with pinpoint accuracy for 6. And every ball is like this, perfectly thrown for his receiver to run into. Always ahead of his man, making sure not even a good break from the defender could stop the completion. He resets the play here as he was prone to do, and empty from the low red gives him lots of spread out options. He's winding up right at the top of his dropback, which times with DT's cut. And look at the placement on this. The break by the DB is superb, and he's at full extension, but the perfect ball will always win. It's not just accuracy he wins with though, it's his anticipation. Every throw is thrown at or before the cut, frequently several steps early, delivered with perfect placement for his receivers to run into the ball. By throwing the ball so early, he can access windows that would otherwise be closed, beating defenses before they have a chance to react. And when you can do this, you have a chance to win on every single down. Here's a ridiculous combination of accuracy and anticipation. The Broncos run a fake tunnel screen with 2 routes faking before releasing behind, but the corner's ready for it with the banjo call and doesn't bite on the pump fake either, keeping his depth and being ready to play Decker deep. But watch the ridiculous anticipation by Manning. He knows his boy is going to beat the corner to the spot and just floats one up there, releasing with Decker a full yard before his man. It's placed in the only spot that can beat the coverage, millimeters past the DB's outstretched hand. Beauty. Accessing the sideline space is a prime way to attack what defenses are willing to give up, but against pro athletes, this space is still only available with anticipation. Beautiful rhythm in the dropback allows him to perfectly time this square out, winding up with Decker still 2 steps short of his 90 cut. And look at the zip and placement on this one. And from the same game, here's an even earlier throw. Manning's aware of the creeping blitz, and when his eyes snap back to the defense after the play action, he spots the one-on-one on the boundary and pressure coming from his left. The only way for this to work with the rush is to throw this super early, and that he does, with Demaryius Thomas taking 5 more steps before he breaks back to the ball. It's placed with absolute perfection, all while the rush comes in hot. It wasn't just boundary balls though. Peyton was a sniper up the seams and across the middle. The Texans try to bluff the motion with what we call lurk technique, following the motion to make it look like man, but really just swapping zone spacing and responsibilities. But Manning ain't fooled, spotting the 3-3 zone by reading the technique with all players' eyes back to the QB. With Decker running the seam, Peyton times one beautifully as he gets even, placing this between all three defenders in stride for the catch and run. And here's a gap only elite anticipation can access. The Chiefs are in a quarters coverage here. Generally, a very good defense in the high red area, as it leaves little accessible with its leverage and match principles. But no coverage is without weakness, especially not when you have the timing of Peyton Manning. Pausing here, see if you can guess where this ball is going. If you guess Decker on the skinny post, then you've been paying attention to our quarters breakdowns. Knowing the safety will tag the two vertical, Manning rips this to Decker on what appears to be a completely covered play, slicing the quarters for 6 more. And this was Manning's other great superpower, finding the weakness in the defense. Accuracy and anticipation are only half the battle in the NFL. Knowing where to go is just as important. Peyton shredded defenses both pre and post snap, always adjusting the offense to get to the correct play, and then knowing how to react on the fly to the camouflage coverages. His immediacy to react to what he saw chunked yards before defenses could react. With the nickel carrying West from the slot and the corner outside occupied by Demaryius Thomas, Manning knows if he times this to the space in the flat, Julius Thomas will be wide open for the catch and run. The earliness of the throw allows Juice to tiptoe the sideline and get every yard available. As mentioned earlier, he was ultra aggressive to attack downfield, so if you missed your press bump, he will make you pay. Manning reads the cover 2 quickly, and seeing 31 miss the jam, he's putting it to the sky immediately. It's floated out perfectly to hit DT in stride, who turns a missed jam at the line into 77 for the Broncos. And here's that want to punish again. Stepping up through the rush, Manning spots the safety playing far too low in the cover 3, and he's got a post route that's going to abuse it. It's launched with perfect precision, thrown flatter so the safety can't recover, dropped over the shoulder for the field flipper. Any disguises in coverage or attempts to bring pressure ended in futility, as Manning was simply too quick to attack, either tipped off by pre-snap information or just knowing how to react to post-snap signals. The Colts try to get pressure here by bringing the linebacker on a wrap blitz and having the edge defender peel off to take the back, but this is a mismatch Manning will take all day long. He knows Marino is going to be able to get in behind, throwing with touch and towards the sideline, dropping this over the shoulder while leading him to space. If you brought pressure, you got punished. It was as simple as that. Here, he catches the Giants with the dummy count. Both linebackers tip the blitz with Manning's fake hike. He's there to set the protection and put his receivers into the correct play. The ball's out before the cut, hitting DT in stride for the first. Here it is against the Chargers, where their pre-snap alignment gives away the coverage. Manning spots the corner sitting over the top of the linebacker, giving away the blitz. With the safety having to respect Monty Ball going long, Manning can fire fast to the flat before the Chargers have a chance to react, allowing him to access the elite athleticism of Demaryius Thomas to turn the corner for the score. He just always knew where the mismatch was. When Dallas tries to bring the pressure with a wrapping double-backer blitz, it leaves the safety having to take the tight end, a mismatch especially with that route. The ball is always out as he hits the top of his dropback, thrown before the break and perfectly out in stride, allowing his weapons to be athletes. And even if you got pressure fast with just 4, sometimes Manning was even too fast for that. The D-tackle whips the left guard, bringing pressure inside with immediacy. But Manning, running one of his favorite plays with that fake screen leak, has the ball out in space with ridiculous anticipation, finding Juice in space before the rush could get home. Much of what the Broncos ran with Peyton at the helm was similar to his days in Indy, and it was deceptively simple. The base of their offense was made up of just a handful of plays and ideas that Manning had mastered and knew how to juggle to destroy a defense. With the ability and smarts to change the play at the line, Manning only needed a few route concepts to exploit the holes being presented. The most frequently run route concept in 2013 was the China concept. This is much like Smash, where the aim is to high-low the corner, but instead of a hitch paired with a corner from the inside, it's a 5-yard in route. Peyton repeatedly peppered both zone and man coverages with this concept. And I love the in-route modification, allowing the receiver momentum into the ball and a chance for extra yards after the catch. Next is one of the most common route concepts since passing took over the league, curl flats. Again, the aim is to high-low the corner, and with him usually dropping to the deeper option, Manning could repeatedly find the flat, attacking defenses fast for easy yards. Peyton also loved the levels concept. This sees two or more players break run horizontally across the field on a 90 cut, attacking the defense at multiple levels. When they ran this from a two-receiver side, the slot would widen his stem to create traffic, before running vertically, then finding the intermediate space. And stealing from the ever-rising air raid attack, they ran a lot of mesh. This created traffic in the middle of the field, perfect for the excellent route runners this offense contained. Peyton then had several packages of ideas that they liked to lean on too. These weren't specific plays or routes, but similar concepts. They loved the two-man route concept, going heavy play action with only two skill position players releasing out for routes. This created a wall of protection for Manning to attack behind, and created isolation opportunities for their top receivers. Look how 8 defenders are sucked into the box on the play action, and the free safety is stranded in no man's land. Manning loves the leverage on Decker's outbreaker, timing this at the cut to find the sideline space. They use this often to create a chunk play on the drive, with Manning consistently able to time these before the cut, beating even well-covered ISO balls. The 8-man protection creates a nice initial pocket for Manning, and as he reads Decker doubled on the dropback, works immediately to DT. He knows he's got to throw this early to beat the tight coverage, throwing before the break with pinpoint accuracy in spite of receiving a thunderous hit. Sheesh! And it wasn't all boundary ball attacks. They would dart the middle of the field when there was access to. Here, Manning rips one through the Giants' fire zone for a chunk of 16. Another key feature of the offense was the screen game. A continuous theme has been attacking fast, and with so many excellent weapons, just getting the ball to them in space is a very viable plan of attack. This outlet screen was a frequent play call, where Manning would catch the shotgun snap, usually perform some form of play action to suck the defense in, only to throw a quick tunnel screen to the outside receiver, with the line releasing out straight away to create a wall of blockers. Demaryius Thomas absolutely destroyed defenses on this play, being a truly elite runner of the football. And if you dare get caught blitzing into this play, it would likely end up as a house call. You had to find ways to get DT the ball fast, and here they steal a modern day idea with the 4-strong formation. That's 4 threats to one side, running the 3 inside receivers deep to create space underneath for a slant screen. He's wide open, shaking the defender for the first. Here, they look to be setting up a similar screen idea, but this time in the form of a drag screen, having the trip side receivers run clear outs that turn into blocks, then bringing a player into that created space with the drag route. However, this is all just a ruse, as they run a screen to the back in the opposite direction, attacking the emptied side of the field. The guard and center block the only 2 defenders this side of the hash marks, and Marino is running into open space, showing a good move to dodge back for the score. And if you thought that was creative, this is the best of the bunch. They look to be setting up one of their favorite plays. However, it's not mesh, but a mesh mid-screen, as all the players work to seal open an inside alley for the back. And it works, with Marino bursting through the mesh blocks, then showing a nice cut to avoid the safety and power for the first. Someone needs to steal this and run it next season. The last package to look at was their use of RPOs, or run-pass options, of which the Broncos were earlier adopters way back in 2013. Now, it wasn't run like it is today, with the modern version being an extended triple option. Y'all know damn well Manning ain't got the legs for that. He saves that for the naked boot. But the basic philosophy remains the same. Beat a defender, and then, based on their actions, either hand the ball off if the box remains light, or hit your receiver for cheap yards if they crash the run. Here, you can see Peyton glance at the slot, and spot him trying to help on the run, so he quickly throws a bubble screen to Wes, who's got a blocker, making this 9 easy yards. Here it is against Oakland, where Manning spots the mismatch numbers on the trips formation pre-snap, firing fast on just a single step drop, allowing Decker to use his blockers to find an easy first. And while they were most commonly thrown as screen passes, they used it for the glance slant on the goal line too. The entire defense have their eyes in the backfield reading the run, but Manning decides to keep it, even to the confusion of his running back, before knifing a ball through the defense to West for the score. We've mentioned them all throughout, but it's time to give some love to the weapons, starting with the statistical leader, the late, great Demaryius Thomas, one of the most underrated receivers of the 2010s. A physical specimen, DT would cut you up and run through you with the ball, and he brought this same athleticism and boot-shaking ability to his routes, while still possessing elite hands. He had the burst to get over the top, but more importantly, he knew how to set it up. Watch the great route to freeze his defender here, angling his stem slightly inside to create more space for the outcut, but this is all a fake, forcing the defender to flip his hips as Thomas takes off behind on the double move. Manning hits him in stride, and we add yet another 6 to the scoreboard. His route running was severely underrated, and he had the ability to absolutely cook his man. Watch the inside look, followed by a push up the stem, angling it back to attack the outside hip. Then the jump, drag, step, and gather, fooling his corner like he's breaking in, only to cut hard 90, providing a wide open throw for Manning. That explosion was in abundance after the catch, where he would turn their beloved China concept into big yards with a change of direction defenders simply couldn't stay in front of. And it wasn't all just athleticism. He was a ridiculous catcher of the football, able to go both high and low for the ball, showing great strength to catch through contact. RIP DT. Going back through the archives and watching greats from previous eras has been a trip, and one man has consistently exceeded even lofty expectations: Wes Welker. We covered him in our 07 Pats video, but here he is 6 years later, still completely unguardable. Now that's a term we throw around way too often in modern football, but Welker truly was. His ability to accelerate, decelerate, then climb back to top gear in an instant is that of an elite running back, with all the same moves to juke and shake his corner, providing Manning an outlet he knew would get open. His lateral speed and explosion were just on another level. Here, setting his man up with the hop before exploding boundary. The ball is uncharacteristically behind for Manning, but Wes turns this into his advantage, spinning back middle to lose his man and walk it in. His change of direction was simply impossible to stay in front of, especially if he was allowed a double move to shake you. His understanding of space and angles was also elite, and this one is just so disrespectful. Watch him catch a peep of the traffic straight off the line, then stiff arm his corner as he breaks inside, tossing him into the mic. He's wide open, always a yak machine, showing good self-preservation here to not get his head taken off. The man playing opposite DT was Eric Decker, another greatly underappreciated receiver of the 2010s, whose numbers and production reached elite levels whenever he had some semblance of QB play. Decker only managed 8 seasons due to injury, but his back-to-back seasons with Peyton and Co. showed his true ceiling. An excellent route runner with some of the best hands you'll see, Decker attacked all 3 levels of the field with precision, fighting off any remaining coverage to rip the ball down for his team, then straight run through secondaries. Watch this beauty of a release to free him of the press, using that diamond release to force the corner wide, then using the corner's aggression against him, bouncing off the contact to create a wide open throw. A route we don't see nearly enough of in today's game, here's Decker running the stick nod. He's gonna fake as if he's breaking at the sticks on the out, giving a fake cut and a head nod to the defender, only to slip back vertical with the corner lost. The fake's great, the corner's trailing, and Manning throws this one low to save his receiver from the incoming hit. And here's one more beauty to set up his man in the high red. He jabs inside before jabbing straight back out as if he's running a post corner, trying to get the corner to widen with the threat. The corner stays outside, thinking he has the route guarded, but Decker works back to the post as Manning times the ball, catching the anticipation ball before the safety can recover. And last, but certainly not least, Julius Thomas provided a 4th athletic passing threat that made this team truly unstoppable. He struggled with injuries throughout his career, but when he stayed healthy, he was an athletically gifted individual with soft hands and elite movement for his size. He was a second security blanket for Peyton Manning, whose wheels meant even quick passes might turn into long scores. And his frame allowed him to be a great post-up player, both in the red zone and as a fade option. We also can't forget Noshawn Marino, who had 1,000 yards on the ground and 60 catches as a checkdown artist. This video is already too long to go into detail, but please know that he balled out that season too. Unfortunately, All of this comes to a grinding halt, one win short of the ultimate prize. The Broncos somehow ran into an even more formidable team, forced into a matchup with one of the greatest defenses of all time. Seattle got home with 4, a disaster for any quarterback, and with their rules-based cover 3, almost shut down the Broncos in their entirety. If it wasn't hard enough facing maybe the greatest defense of all time, things went wrong from the very first snap, as the ball sailed over Manning's head for a safety, signaling a nervous Broncos team who never got back into the fight. However, even if they had stood up to the battle, this Seahawks team was just so damn dominant, I still think I favor them in the match. We've made a video about that team too, so go peep that after. So, that's the story of the NFL's greatest ever offense. One that overwhelmed you with talent, timing, and simplicity. While they did fall short in 2013, Manning would finally redeem himself 2 years later, becoming the first QB to win a Super Bowl for 2 different franchises. However, the story of the 2015 Broncos is a very different one that hopefully we'll get to cover soon. For now, the 2013 Broncos can teach us that football is a simple game we choose to make complex, and that anticipation is always king. Thanks again to the NFL for lending us the film.